Okay, so in this session today, I'm going to teach you task 4. Let's have a look through it together. So task 4 says compose a 4-bar rhythm consisting of a 2-bar question and a 2-bar answer. And what this is really about is us thinking about what is music for, and quite often music is not just sound, and it's not just random. Music is often used to communicate, and sometimes we communicate an idea or a thought or a story, or it could actually be the way that we speak to each other. Has been the case for thousands and thousands of years. People have used music and sound to do that. So when we're writing our own music, we need to be thinking about what it's almost like saying. So in this task, compose a 4-bar rhythm consisting of a 2-bar question and a 2-bar answer. It builds on the understanding that you got from task 3. But then what is this question and answer thing about? Well, if I asked you a question and the question was, what are you going to do tomorrow? The answer might be, tomorrow I'm going to the zoo. Okay, I'm not really going to the zoo, but that's an example of how a question and answer might fit together. If we think about the construction of those sentences, I used a word in the question that I also used in the answer. So we can use that as a little bit of a kind of an idea of what we do when we're writing this music. So, and by the way, the word I used in the question and the answer was tomorrow. So the question was, what are you doing tomorrow? The answer was, tomorrow I'm going to the zoo. Okay, so thinking about how that question is structured is really important. Let me go into my whiteboard here, and I'm going to draw you an example of what we're doing. So we need to remember, whoops, that's wrong. We need to remember that we're looking for a question and an answer. We need to remember that it needs to be 4 bars long. So yesterday in task 3, when you did a rhythm that was 4 beats long, now we're looking for 4 times that. Okay, so much longer. So I'm going to put a time signature at the beginning, just like yesterday we'll use 4/4, and I'm going to split my page up here into 4 bars using bar lines like that. And at the end of my 4-bar rhythm, I'm going to put a second bar line that's a bit thicker at the end, and we usually do that at the end of a piece of music to show that it's finished. Now you see in between each of these bar lines there's not a lot of space. So if I was going on the idea that I used in task 3 yesterday, I could draw me 4 beats and then draw things in those boxes, but as you can see straight away there's not going to be enough space to do that, so I'm just going to take a few steps back and not use the squares for today, but that's what they would look like if I did it. So the question and answer means that in these first 2 bars here I'm going to ask essentially a musical question, and then in the second 2 bars there I'm going to give a musical answer. So let me just write a rhythm in here. So I'm going to go crotchet, crotchet, 2 quavers, crotchet. When I'm writing these things down, I'm using exactly the same thought process that you did in task 3 yesterday. Then I'm going to go quaver, quaver, crotchet, quaver, quaver, crotchet. Okay, now if this is my steady pulse, and I was to read you that rhythm in tea and coffee, it would be tea, tea, coffee, tea, coffee, tea, coffee, tea. Okay, now for me, I think that's a little bit simpler, and I want to use one of the features that we learned about yesterday, which is rest. So I'm going to edit this a little bit, and I'm going to take out that second beat and replace it with a 1-beat rest, a crotchet beat rest. So this is my pulse, and it now sounds like this: tea, sh, coffee, tea, coffee, tea, coffee, tea. Okay, now I'm then going to think about, you remember I said to you a few minutes ago about the having a word that's the same in the question and the answer, almost to create make more sense. So I'm now going to look at where that musical feature, that musical word could be. So this little rhythm here of coffee, tea, features 3 times in that question. So therefore, I'm going to use that in the answer. The other thing that is a feature now is this rest. That's a feature. So I'm going to use that in my answer as well. And then they can be related to each other. But the important thing is, with it being a question and an answer, they're not the same. You never ask somebody a question and then they repeat it back to you, unless it was an annoying thing that they did. So let's continue and answer. And often the best way to do with this is just to clap or say your rhythm, and then imagine what you want to hear next. So, shh. Now in my head, I'm thinking to start off with the crotchet followed by the crotchet rest feature is something that I really like. So I'm going to repeat that at that moment. And then I'm going to go crotchet, crotchet, which is different to what I had in bar 1. And then in this last bar, I'm going to go coffee, coffee, and then I'm going to go soup. Now we've not used soup before. Soup is a minim, so remember from yesterday, a minim is a 2-beat note. So if these are the beats of the bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then because that last note lasts for 2 beats, it will also last the 4th beat as well. So let me now clap this rhythm for you that is a question and answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Shh. Shh. Okay. Now when you clap, it's not easy to tell the difference between a 1-beat and a 2-beat note. But I did that by just holding my hands together at the end so that I could feel how that felt to clap the rhythm. Okay. Now if we look back to what you need to do task 4, it says the evidence to pass task 4, you need to submit 2 items to Shobi, your rhythm drawn on an iPad or paper and then photographed clearly. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then you have to do a video recording of you tapping the rhythm in time to a metronome. So just in the same way that you did task 1 and task 3, the way that you used your metronome to prove that you could do it in time, that's really, really important. So that's the same way that you're going to do it for this time as well. Now, I mentioned about the drawing on the iPad thing. Students who drew on iPad, you made the best effort that you could drawing the thing on the screen yesterday, but it wasn't very neat and it's quite difficult to follow and it didn't really fit on the iPad screen. So I'm going to suggest for today, go and get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil and draw it with pride, really, really neatly. Take a neat photograph and then upload that to Shobi. Okay, so that's task 4.